Stupid piece of shit. These are the things that my wife makes me do to save money. It's only taken me about 37 minutes to get to this point. Not really, but for fucking perfectionist. They gotta be flat! You gotta make the fucking stitches flat, Dave! Leave me alone. You're not helping.
How would you like me to help?
All you're doing is making joking videos about me.
I'm not making anything. I'm just filming for your content, love.
You're right.
You'll look back on this later and appreciate it. Even Stanley's over there watching.
Hey, what's up, guys? So, I got something to show you. Check it out. This here is my skid plate. And, as you can see, it's got a little bit of modification done to it. We did some thrashing last weekend over at Rzr Run, and basically I took a big-ass rock right through the belly pan. Now, I've done this before on other panels. However, I've never done one with this thick of wire, and I've never done one on the skid plate. So, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a rundown as to how I do this and the different size wires that I use and where you can find them. Okay, so here we are over to a side panel. This is one that I've actually had on the machine for it's been about 2 years now, actually. And this one was the first one that I did. I wasn't sure if it was going to work. And I did this with really, really thin wire. This is actually 0.025 stainless steel safety wire. The drill bit that I used was extremely small. So basically, like, you could barely even see the drill holes. But one thing about using thin wire is that it's really easy to work with. I mean, it tears up your hands, so don't get me wrong. It tears up your hands. I'm gonna show you guys some tricks that'll kind of get you by that part, but it's easy to work with. It's easy to make your stitches look nice and straight. One thing to remember is once you start kinking up this wire, it's really hard to get back perfectly straight. So if you want your stitches to look good, you got to make sure you're paying attention to what you're doing and take your time. The thinner it is, the easier it is to work with. But don't think that just because it's thin, it's not strong. The way that you do the knot, this is extremely strong. All right, so let's get to the skid plate. I haven't finished the skid plate yet, but one thing that I did do is I got basically to a point to where I was almost finished, and I'd be able to do that part with you guys. So here's where we're at, and I've done a lot of the hard stuff. So this is actually where it hit and it punctured through. So you can see where this is actually a little overlapping here, which is okay. You know, this plastic is super stretched, and just the fact that I was able to make this look halfway round, I'm okay with it. But you can see this wire here is definitely not 0.25. So I don't want you guys to get this misconstrued with the wire that I used on the side panel. If you're using this stuff if you're looking to do this method for like any kind of fenders or anything like that, my recommendation is to do it with something like 0.25 or 0.025 to like 0.032, something out there. Anything bigger is, you start making it really difficult to work with. Not only that, the thicker the wire, the more likely you are to pull through the plastic when you're trying to get it to stretch like straight. So you want to make sure you're not using a wire that is too thick, because if it's too thick and you put it through the hole, when you go to pull it taut, you're just going to yank it right through the plastic, because you're never going to get it to go straight, and you're just going to get pissed off and pull it harder and harder and harder until And then you got to do it all over again. And it looks like shit afterwards. And then you go, why the hell doesn't your mind look like yours, Dave? And it's like, because I took my time, bro. Now that I'm blinded by that damn phone light. So here's what I get. I don't know what this is. 100 feet? Maybe. I can't even read it right now because my eyes are freaking blinded. 1 pound, so they do this by pounds. Diameter, 0.025. This is super thin stuff, like extremely thin. But it's stainless and it's extremely strong. On the belly pan, this is some thick plastic. You're not going to pull through this that easily. So what we did was we went with something a little bigger. This is 0.47. This stuff's a little tougher to work with. You will not pull this stuff taut with your hands. This is definitely something you need to use your wrenches with. And I've gone through a couple different, methods of doing this. And I find the best way is with a good set of needle nose. I happen to like this set that I have just because it's a little easier on my hands for some reason. I've tried all of them, But basically, you can use any set of pliers and a little bit of muscle, depending on how thick the wire is. You might be caught in a position sometimes to where you're gonna have to use a little bit of leverage and use the wrenches to help you. Let me get the camera set up and we'll go over this shindig. What we're gonna do is this doesn't have to be one consistent piece. I troll a lot of people when I tell them how I do this, is that I use one long piece. I don't do that. All right, so you're gonna get one long piece. This works. You don't want to go too overboard. Okay, first things first. We're gonna go ahead and bring this sucker through on one side, and then what we're gonna do on the back side is we're gonna hook a U-turn and come back out on this hole, okay? All right, take 2, or 5, or 7. Anyways, here we go. So I got some wire behind here. I was doing this a little bit earlier, but we're just gonna go ahead. I'm gonna tie that one off later, and for right now, we're just gonna work on this piece. So basically, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna take this piece, and it doesn't matter which hole you insert in first when you get started. You're gonna put it in, and then what you're gonna do is you're just gonna hook a U-turn. You're gonna come out the other side directly across from that hole. So you have to look behind it, come through, and feed it through. All right. Now what you want to do is make sure you got it the same, just like you're doing your shoelaces. Now, this is where you need to start paying attention, because you're gonna kill your damn hands if you don't do this correctly. Okay, so for this piece, I went main body part to the cracked piece first. That's how I just kept my kept everything. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go this side first, and I'm gonna push it through. Now, you don't have to go all the way through, just kind of get it halfway in there. Then you're gonna take this one, and you're basically gonna go directly across from there. Okay? Just like that. Now that we're on the back side, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take and pull all the slack out. Now, that's where it kills your hands. You can see how difficult that was. Like, just that alone chewed on my hands. The first part is always the hardest. Okay? Now, instead of using your hands, you can just use these needle nose and just give it a nice little tug. Okay? We want to make sure that that first little hoop, that one right there, we want to make sure that it's taut. So once we make sure that that's taut, we're going to do the same thing we kind of did on the front. The only thing we're going to do a little different is we're going to go back through the same holes that we went through. So you're going to take this one, hook it over,
It helps to pull the opposite cable up out of the way. And then what you want to do is you want to snake this one through that hole. It's going to be tight because, like I said, you want to make sure that that drill bit is halfway, you know, just a little bit too small almost. Make sure your hoop is smooth here, because if you go to pull this and it's twisted in some way, you're going to kink this sucker, and it's a pain in the butt to get them correct. Pull this sucker out of the way, feed that one through. Bam. Now you got them both loose. Now you're going to come back around to the front. All right. So now, while you're doing this from the front, you want to make sure to keep an eye on the back and just make sure that you don't have any kinks going on, okay? And the first knot or two is always going to be the most difficult, because it's hard to get like the slack out. But once you get a knot or two tied and taut, it's really easy. So now, you can see me giving it a tug. Look at that. So now, if you look at the back side, you can see it's just hooped back around right through the same hole. One thing that you've done is you've made an X. But now, you're back at square one. So, but the thing here is you want to make sure that you get these, you can see how these ones are nice and flat. You want to make sure that you get this tight. So the way you do that is you actually take and pinch this, okay? And when you pinch it, you pull up. Okay, let me see if I can get this on camera here. So basically, when you pull the knot, you can watch it cinch down. And you will notice that if you do this, that knot will get super taut, tight, however you want to say it. And from that point, you would go back in again. You would push this one through. You go back in through here. You'd push that one through. Whatever side you put through first is the side you want to pull tight first. Okay, and now you can even come from the back side and do that pinch and tug thing. And what that's going to do is it's going to tighten up all those little knots. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this strand that's actually still behind there, and I'm going to feed it through and finish this last notch, and then I'm going to show you how to do a pigtail. All right, guys. So one thing I want to show you is when you're doing this, after you go a little ways, it's really good to come back through and flatten out your stitches. So I don't know if you can really tell on camera, but right here, this is a lot smoother than this. This actually is up pretty high. And so what I like to do is use a short little hammer, and I'll lay it on something hard. I'm using a block of wood, and then just flatten them out. This is more of an essential part when you're doing this thick wire, because this stuff is tough to work with. So. And you know, if you're not able to get like a good enough clamp on it, one thing you could do is you could actually take it, twist it a little bit, and that way you're just kind of pulling up with it. You just want to make sure that you bend it back before you let go. Otherwise, you're going to put a kink in your wire. So now that we got this through, we're going to go ahead and do our last little knot. Now, here's a good little spot to test. So let's say you can't push the wire through. Oh shit, I did it too small, Dave. Okay, well, not to worry. Try using your wrench and actually just pinch it. And then what you're gonna do is just take it and push on this. And see if you can get it to go through that way. And most of the time, it'll sneak through. Bam. Bam. All right. Now, let's go to the back side. I'll show you how to do the pigtail. All right, guys. Now, this next part, there's a couple ways to do this. If I can make a recommendation, if you're ever thinking about doing any of this stuff, get yourself a set of safety wire pliers. This is not super expensive. They're super cheap. You can get these ones off of Amazon, okay? They're super easy to find. The way they work, a little differently than how I'm going to show you how I'm using them today, simply because this fucking wire is tough, all right? And tough wire means it's kind of difficult to use safety wire pliers. But either way, these really help for twisting, okay? If you had some lighter wire, it would be a lot easier to use the actual tool itself how it's supposed to be. But today we're just going to turn everything manually with our hands, and yeah, I'll show you how to do it. All right, so we got these two pieces here. You can see them. This is the end, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to be tying this off. So the best thing to do is to cross these two and pull them against each other, okay? This is the best way I've found to do this without losing anything. Give it one twist, okay? And after you give them one twist, just bring them up and bring them together. Get them together. Now, the way that these pliers work is you actually pinch. See this little hook? So you pinch it down, and then there's a slider right here. Of course, this wire is super damn heavy. Slide that slider back. Now I got you locked in, boy. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure we go the same way that we made our twist, all right? So we're just gonna start twisting like this. Kind of pull on it a little bit. You can see this twist. And it'll get tighter. It'll cinch up down here at the bottom too. You can see it cinching right now. You want to keep an eye on it, because as soon as you go too far, it's going to break on you. Now, it doesn't need to be perfect. When you're done and you're ready to release your wrench, just give it a little squeeze. The clamp will release. You could use your safety wire pliers to cut it. I prefer to use the old alternative lifestyle pliers. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and reach up in on here. Okay. And when you roll it, this is what you call a pigtail. Now, pigtails are good because they don't cut your ass. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you guys got a little bit of information, a little bit of knowledge out of it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up. I have no problem answering them. I do this full time. So, appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. If you guys haven't had a chance, make sure you go to that video tab. Go to the A1UTV page. Click on the video tab. Click on the playlist tab. Check them out. See all the videos. We're rolling up on like 300 videos on this page. You can binge watch this shit for hours. Appreciate you guys. Much love. See you out on the trails. Later. It just sucks because you gotta tighten like every turn. Every turn, you gotta fucking tighten it. And then I can't fucking see what the hell I'm doing. I'm blind and I'm fucking back here. Open your eyes, Dave. Ooh, son of a bitch. What are you filming right now? Shut off.
You can put this in the outtakes.
I want to see this shit. See this? Come on!